All right. Well, hello there, nerds. And this is going to be something very different. I'm actually just trying this out. So a little while ago, we we learned some news that we were going to be losing the voice actress for our delightful little owl by the name of Faye. Unfortunately, she will be most likely recast, but I wanted to bring Kimberly along and have her talk to us. So joining us today is actually Kimberly Tierney. I hope I'm saying that correct again.
That was right. Yes, yep. Tear to the knee.
All right. And just thanks so much for joining us on this. This is...
Thank you so much for inviting me.
So I have a lot of things we're going to be going over today. So first off, I just wanted to kind of ask, this is going to be a general question, but I wanted to know how you started your career. And, you know, you have been a lot of places too. So
I've been a lot of places. Yes. Well, a lot of my traveling was done during university. So I think that to any college students out there, although we are in the midst of a pandemic. So I'm sorry for everyone who's affected by that. And I hope that our interview today can give you some levity and fun in these dark times. But back before there was global sickness, we could kind of travel during university and spend semesters abroad. So I was an undergrad at Ithaca College, and I studied in London at a designated Ithaca College London Center.
Oh,
so
wow.
That was my first trip abroad.
That. I read your production, about page, and they were just, I also saw you went to Moscow as well.
You got to just stick to the highlights there. Yeah. Moscow is after that. Yeah. So I actually spent 3 semesters, a year and a half abroad. And when I came back to my university, nobody knew who I was. And I had no friends because, I was only on campus for the junior and sophomore years. And then I was gone. I returned for the last semester of my senior year, which is a wash anyway, right? Mm-hmm. you're not meant to be doing much then.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure the last year for me was just kind of like, drifting on.
Yeah, and everyone was like, "Are you a freshman?" I was like, "I am not a freshman." So I had no respect, and nobody knew who I was.
Okay, I do have to ask the question since you're traveling abroad. Where did you start? Like, where exactly was
The first semester was in London. So I was there for a whole semester, and I was an intern at a wonderful theater called the Soho Theater. And what they do is develop new plays and new writers. And I was a dramaturgy intern. So literally, I got there in the morning, and the administrators would be like, "A cup of tea?" And I'd be like, "Yes, please." And I'd read a stack of plays, drinking tea for like 3 hours every day.
That doesn't sound too bad, honestly.
It was incredible. And I think anybody who's interested in becoming a writer or helping writers or being in the theater or being in film or whatever, you have to start by reading plays. So it was probably more a priceless experience than my entire college education to go there and just have a huge stack of plays to read and write reports on every day.
Yeah, that definitely sounds like something great, honestly. Geez.
It was terrific. And then one day they were like, "We'd like you to answer the phones, Kimberly." And I was like,
oh, no.
Yeah, that was stressful.
That reminds me of just when I worked at a pizza place, during my college and high school years.
Oh, full sympathy.
And not only did we have, phones like that, I had to answer a bunch of phones, but also during this time, this was about the time that webcams started to come into, a real big play. And the boss, my boss during that time, they set up a webcam, and whatever, she would just sit there every day. She wouldn't come into work. She would sit there and watch on her computer, and if she spotted any employee not doing something, she would actually call the pizza place
That's horrifying. That is not how you're supposed to spend your time at a part-time pizza parlor job, being spied on and productive. That's terrible.
That's my upbringing there, at least a little bit. So
I'm offended for you.
But
everyone knows that's where we're supposed to develop adult socialization skills. We're not supposed to actually like contribute to the economy.
Just typical. I could probably go on and on about, the fun of working in the public sector like that. But
wow. My first part-time job was at a bookstore. And we had a back room. My whole life is centered around reading on other people's time. So no, I'm just kidding. No, yeah, we would kind of organize a shift. So there were probably 3 high school students or new college students, and we kind of organize our shifts. We were like, okay, like 10 a.m. to 10:15, I'm in the back room, and then you've got 10:20 to 10:45. So because we could read all the new books, all the books that weren't out yet were in the back.
I mean, it's perfect for you. You just sneak back there and start reading a bit more, right?
Exactly, yeah. And we were like, we're straightening, we are organizing and dusting. So,
oh my goodness.
Yeah.
That's just our job. We, and then just with the book in hand, and there you go.
Exactly. I was like, just looking for the right place on the shelf for this.
Not reading it, I promise.
Not reading it. Don't bend the bind.
All right, I do have a question here. So, for those who don't know, Kimberly is based in Japan right now.
I am, and actually, I've been here for about 14 years.
Wow, that's quite a ways. I mean, quite a time.
Exactly. Jeez. I should be more literate, but
oh, don't be too hard on yourself there.
Yeah,
definitely a step above me. I mean, I'm assuming you know a second language as well, Japanese, right?
I do. I'm conversational, so I can live. I can accomplish daily tasks.
And here I fumble with my own English, so that's just how it goes. But either way,
it's a very difficult language.
Very true, very, very true. So I do have to ask this question because you are someone who's traveled quite a bit. How do you it must be kind of interesting to adapt to all the different customs that kind of come along with, traveling around, like going to London and all this fun stuff.
The real problem for me is that when I go to a foreign country, like the latest language I've studied flies out of my mouth. So like when I was in Paris, I was speaking Japanese when I wanted to be speaking French, and actually when I was in Russia, the great thing about Russian is that there are a lot of French loanwords. So, my high school French was a little bit useful in Russia. And luckily, Russian, you can communicate without using any grammar because Russian grammar is absolutely diabolical. I think to become a fluent Russian speaker, it's a feat in and of itself. And you should definitely win some kind of global prize because it's a really hard language. So thankfully, you can actually make sentences with mixed up word order and no conjugations because I think that's how all Russian children speak for a long time.
Oh, God.
Before they become adult sentient beings. So
a lot of that just sounds hard. Very difficult.
I mean, we had Russian language lessons, so we had Russian class every day. And I believe it was 90 minutes. So by the end of the semester, I could actually write in cursive Cyrillic. And now when I look at those notebooks, I'm like, what is this? I can't read it at all anymore.
Yeah, I mean, I can't even, I look at Russian, written Russian, and it's definitely a feat, that's for sure. I mean,
yeah, it's beautiful, isn't it? The language itself is so pretty. And it's usually gold, right? It's usually illuminated and beautiful. So it's so fascinating. I love it. After that semester, I was determined, to keep up my Russian and learn more. And I never studied at all. Not at all. Well,
it's just kind of
on to the next.
Yeah, I know, right? It's like, whoa, okay. So right now, you currently, for those who want to hear Kim every day, you could possibly listen to the radio, correct? You could. I'm on a national broadcast radio program for NHK right now, and it is kind of a mid-level. It's a junior high school level English program, so you could listen every day. The last year's program was awesome. It was a fantasy story, and it was really cool. It was set in
a place called Petal Kingdom, and we all had fantasy characters, and I was a princess, and she was like a crack shot archer and a fencer. So she was so badass. I loved that.
That sounds
character.
awesome.
Yeah, and this year I'm like a host stay mom, so it's a really big change. And we all got into acting to get a little bit away from our daily lives, and this is a little bit closer to my daily reality than I'm usually comfortable with. So I'm really sad that last year's season is ending, but I'm excited for what's going to happen. It's like more like a teen drama. So there's twins, of course.
Of course.
And one of them is really shy, and one of them's really an extrovert. So they're kind of clashing personalities, and they have to go to a high school in rural Maine.
Oh.
So it's
that's definitely
full of fun.
Never thought I would end up in Maine, outside of maybe a Stephen King book, but
And there's a lot of Stephen King references because of yes, there's so much Stephen King stuff, and lobsters. So it has its charms.
Lobsters? Oh yeah, of course, Maine. What am I thinking?
Yeah.
Jeez, well, God. That's,
so if you really miss me, there's a chance.
Yeah, you can always listen there. So, that's incredible to me. I think that's really cool that you're able to just go and you're playing these characters in the radio, this radio show, of course.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and it's like a learning program. So it's a very short skit, and then there's a bunch of English grammar lessons built around it. So putting the whole story together and making it a story, making it comprehensive, and then being able to get teaching and grammar points in. It's a 15-minute program. So, I mean, it's really incredible. The people, the writers who are doing it are amazing. And these programs have been on NHK radio for over 80 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's geez.
And the sensei who's on my program, she was talking about listening to this show when she was a junior high schooler. And I was like, that's insane.
Yeah, that definitely is. Holy crap.
Yeah.
80
so
years?
It's 80 years. It's a very prestigious program. And it's like, you guys hired me for this? So I feel
congratulations.
I feel the weight. Yeah, yeah.
I mean, that's awesome. That is insane.
Yeah, I feel like I'm getting away with something, but they kept me on for a second year, so I'm super happy.
And it also seems like right up your alley, just with the reading and everything. You just get to...
I love reading.
Yeah. You get to enjoy and just become these characters and stuff like that. So that's good
great
stuff. Also, one of the other hobbies that I've noticed on your Twitter is that you make a lot of bread.
Yes, I started it last year, and I used to make all the bread by hand. Oh. Then for New Year's, I bought a wonderful bread machine. And it's funny because I do a lot of narration for commercial stuff or news programs. And actually, I had done a narration about the evolution of the Panasonic bread maker. And this product came into being in the 1980s, 1985 or something. And there was a woman who was on the original development team for the Panasonic bread maker. They baked over I want to say more than 1,000 loaves of bread, and they were all abject failures. Oh. And, they couldn't get it right. And then one day they figured out they had to put a little bump in the bread case because then they could get friction. And they, just to design the little bread panel and on and on and on, they just went through so many iterations of product development, blood, sweat, and tears went into this loaf of bread. And I was like, oh, I'm getting a Panasonic bread maker.
And you, I'm sure you didn't regret that at all. I mean,
no,
it is
incredible. From 1985 onward, the magic box, they called it.
I've been seeing a lot of really delicious looking, bread that you've made there, all sorts of flavors.
So delicious. It is dangerously delicious. And it makes a small loaf. So literally, we get up and we just eat an entire loaf of bread every morning. And long term, I don't know what this is going to do to my waistline, but I am enjoying it.
Yeah. A lot of carbs in that. A lot of carbs.
But the thing is, I started to bake the bread because I really needed something to sort of get over disappointments. So this is sad. My uncle passed away really suddenly in 2018.
Oh.
And he was a huge influence on my life. He was a really creative, amazing man. He was basically a Ren Fair guy. So I don't know if you know the Renaissance festivals.
Yes. Renaissance fairs. Yep.
Well, he was like a professional Ren Fair goer.
Oh, of course. Yeah. I mean,
like he went to so many Ren fairs. He basically started working at one every summer, and he used to make me costumes. You know, like the beginning of the summer, he'd be like, "Do you want to be a wench or a lady?"
That's a very odd question to be asking. So.
Right? Yeah. So I wanted to be a lady for the longest time until high school, and then I knew wench is where the fun was at.
Of course.
Yeah, but I mean, he was a really creative person. He was actually, in his real life, he was a IT professional. So he worked with computers, and he was really smart. He had a real genius brain for patterns and programming. And he used those math skills to kind of create patterns for knitting. And he became famous on the internet for developing patterns, and these women would knit them. And he made them all kind of based on his favorite science fiction and fantasy novels, because again, he was a huge reader and he would always give me his old books. So he made patterns based on like the Dragons of Pern, Dragon Riders of Pern, and all kinds of fantasy series. So his internet name was Mario. So because, it's funny, we're connected by Nintendo stuff. If you search Mario on the internet, like Google image search, you're going to get Mario, Super Mario. And then you're going to see pictures of these beautiful knitted shawls. And those are my uncle's patterns. So yeah, his most famous one is like a peacock pattern, like a wedding shawl. So please pop it into Google image search and take a look at the beauty.
I'm definitely going to take a look when I can after this. That's
yeah, please take a look. Anyway, if you have all his patterns are free now on Ravelry.com. You have to make an account, but if you just want to see some really beautiful stuff, if anybody's interested in fractals or pattern design, that's he used yarn as a medium, but really it's connected to programming and kind of a mathematical genius brain that he had.
Yeah, I can kind of see that because, being good with patterns and understanding a lot of technology like that, it kind of matches pretty well with the creativity aspects.
Yeah. And so I needed something to sort of get over daily disappointments and grief. And I found that doing something at the end of every day and having something to look forward to at the beginning of every day, it really changed how I could handle daily ups and downs. So I feel more like my mental health is so much better because I'm just like, I'm making bread and there's something great coming in the morning. So whatever happens to me, I have something fantastic to look forward to that's really low stakes,
Yeah, that sounds absolutely perfect. I think I need something like that in my life, honestly.
Yeah, maybe for some people, coffee is that thing. It should be something super simple. But for me, coffee wasn't enough, right?
Did you already have 3 already? You told me.
Yeah, I've had 3 coffees already. I needed to caffeinate because people are listening. I need energy. I want to give you energy and joy through the power of caffeine.
Yeah, of course. I mean, don't mind me. I just have 1 cup of coffee right here. But anyways, I think having something to do at the end of the day definitely helps your mind relax a lot more towards coming to terms with things or trying to understand something or just getting over something.
And also it's time to shut off, right? Because I am completely addicted to Twitter and all the social media stuff. I want to get off it, but I don't know. It's just like a performer's personality. You're like, people are talking about stuff. I need to keep up with everything all the time.
Yeah, exactly. It really is difficult, and people get swallowed by social media so easily these days.
Absolutely,
just looking at all of the, because I've definitely noticed that a lot more people are really into it, especially now with, the pandemic going on.
Right.
Social
Because,
distancing
people
has
are
become,
feeling isolated. And, well, I
Yeah.
mean, I have 2 children, so I have no social life whatsoever. And I'm always home at night anyway. So, like the internet is completely my social life, and it has been for at least the last 6 years anyway. So people are like, how are you feeling about this pandemic? And like, are you affected? Are you feeling anxious? And I was like, I can sense that there's a big, rise in anxiety, but I'm not feeling that right now because, I have stability. My schedule hasn't been disrupted too badly yet. We don't know what's going to happen from now on. So I encourage everyone to find something simple in your daily life that brings you a lot of joy and to protect you and sort of buffer you against the anxiety that's kind of happening right now.
Yeah, I'm sound advice, honestly, there, because there are people right now panicking crazy amounts.
I mean, they closed Disney World and panic.
Yeah.
Right?
Disneyland
that doesn't make me feel calm.
Disneyland's closed. Most of the NBA games have been canceled. It's crazy. I mean, there's a lot going on.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, we have to be aware that things are different, right? The world is in a little bit different state of being right now. So we have to adapt to it and try to protect our mental health as much as possible.
Exactly. I definitely agree with that. Just, oh man. And I'm the one who ended up going to Disneyland during all of that. Oh my goodness.
Well, I think you got in just the right time.
Just a day before they actually closed. That was,
safe.
I was concerned about the coronavirus, but my mother was just like, nope, we're going.
We're going.
You can't say no to me. I'm an elderly lady who wants to go on roller coasters. Let me do that.
Well, she deserves a roller coaster, but now she has to let that tide her over until it's safe to go again.
Exactly.
Yeah. We had that time, Mom. Remember Disneyland?
Yeah, exactly. And hopefully she'll remember that. But man, that was different experience altogether.
Well, I saw on YouTube a guy put his little daughter in a box and put a roller coaster on the TV, so you could do that for your mom.
I'll have to find a big enough box.
I think in Japan they sell these things that make you feel like you're riding a horse. I feel like this could be a home roller coaster setup if it was done
Yeah, I think you're onto something. You should probably try to patent that or something. Maybe get that ball rolling. Find that market that you're looking for, because that honestly right now in today's day and age, that might just be something that could really sell very well. Just saying.
Yeah, who wants a digital fireplace? We want a digital roller coaster.
Exactly. Oh my goodness. Oh boy, we definitely went a little long there. No big deal.
Sorry.
Oh no, that's perfectly
fine. You can trim and edit. Thanks to
I honestly enjoy a lot. If there's more to it, I'm definitely game. So I do have to ask this question.
Okay.
Because you are Faye.
An official question. Yes. Yes.
Did you know what you were getting yourself into when you signed up for this, or just
No, I didn't. No, I had no idea, because I think one thing people probably want to know is did I know Fire Emblem? And the answer is no, because I'm old. I started gaming in the 1980s.
Oh, yeah.
And my first game was Mule on the Atari family computer.
I'm not familiar with that one, actually.
Oh my God. That was the best game ever created. So it was amazing. And actually the 8-bit theme song for that is rockin'. You should all check it out.
All right. I'll be sure. You know what? I'll try and find that on YouTube and include it in the description below, just to see if we can't sneak that in there. But
I don't know if you can still play it on browser, but it was an 8-bit interplanetary Monopoly game. So you would choose a color. It was heavily influenced by board gaming, obviously, as early computer games were. So you would choose an alien of a certain race and a color, and then you guys would basically compete to, I don't know, terraform, or you had different industries and you had to make money, of course.
Yeah, of course.
It was very capitalistic.
It's Monopoly in space.
Great.
Why not, right?
It was Monopoly in space, colonization Monopoly. It was great.
Oh, I mean, I'm used to that. I'm trying to think of the other game that was like that. Ah, God. Brain fart right now, but I mean, that sounds
totally. Yeah. And then my first RPG was Ultima.
Oh my goodness. That is really old school. I actually played Ultima Online way back in the day. So
yeah, Ultima Online is like 10 years after or more.
I
like Ultima Online.
I'm familiar with the series, but
as far as I'm concerned, that is like
back.
It's some kind of utopia that sprang up out of nowhere. Like when I say I played Ultima, I mean I sat next to my brother and was not allowed to touch any controls.
Oh, of course.
Right?
Exactly.
That's like
that sounds
as
like
all
my
younger
brother,
sisters
honestly.
have experienced gaming throughout their whole lives. He's like, I just want your company and for you to make decisions.
Oh, of course. You get to pick.
I was like, hand over the joystick.
Yeah, that sounds like my situation. I had an older brother who was really into, games like that. And like, even though Super Mario had, 2 players at certain points, he wouldn't let me play.
Yeah. I mean, I never had a Nintendo game machine or anything because we had the Atari family computer first. Then we had an Atari game machine. So my first Nintendo game was Donkey Kong.
Oh, of course. The old classic one, right? With the,
yeah.
So you were basically playing the old plumber version where he's climbing up and trying to stop Donkey Kong from kidnapping the princess, correct? So
yes, yeah, exactly. Yeah, the chutes and ladders one.
Oh man.
And the barrels,
Yes, the barrels.
And, of course it was amazing. It was classic and it was hard. So I was not great at that. My favorite game was Pole Position. And that's a racing game.
Yeah, I remember that one. That one.
Yeah, it was great. I just loved it. Nobody wanted to play that with me, though. I was like, let's race. Let's play Pole Position. No one was into it except for me.
Aw. Well, I'm sure that there's plenty of people out there who would be wanting to play that right now.
Yeah. So anyway, Fire Emblem is basically like it started in 1990. So I was probably in 6th grade at that time in 1990. And we were already heavily into PC gaming at that point. And we were on like Ultima 9 probably. So, like Ultima took us all the way up until high school. And after that, like if I could even get a chance on the computer, which was pretty unlikely because my dad was gaming, my brother was gaming, my uncle was playing stuff. And then my uncle, can I even talk about this on the internet? Do not listen. My uncle, as I said, he was in IT. So he used to bring home pirated games. So then my brother and I were like little hackers.
Don't listen, folks.
Nobody listen to this and don't do this. I don't advocate. We were playing like level 1 of Prince of Persia over and over.
We were kids back in that day.
We didn't know it was wrong. It was so wrong. And we kept notes. We kept a notebook to try to get past the software protections.
Oh, of course. Yeah, I know.
So we would play level 1 for days and then maybe get through to level 2, and then there was another software protection at level 6. So you could never finish, never.
Of course, yeah. Back then they had to do that very sneakily. They had to make sure that the checks for piracy oftentimes came in weird places and.
Yeah, and you were supposed to have the user manual, which meant you purchased the box.
And like some of them had like little color wheels that you had to like sort through and things like that. Oh God, I remember the old PC days with that.
Yeah, so
I think Tales of Monkey Island had that. Jeez.
Yeah, and then I guess like games became there were both epic games and there were more casual games like that. Yeah. So like our gaming life split, and then we got into high school and I was so busy, and then I got into college and there was no time for anything. So
oh yeah, definitely.
That's why I didn't know Fire Emblem until now. So Fire Emblem Heroes is my first Fire Emblem game. Guys, it was my first.
Did you? Well, that's actually a question for later. Now that I think about that, we'll save that. But I mean, you ended up becoming an owl of all people.
I know, and this is not my first owl.
Well, you're second, okay?
It's my second owl. I developed an owl character for CyanYoh for a little anniversary series they did for in the Hello Kitty genre. It was called Little Hello Kitty, Little Friends Big Adventure, something like that. And it was a very short web animation series for them. Yeah.
Oh, wow. So you
and
actually...
that owl was a ninja owl named Meru Meru, I think.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I mean, I think Faye could probably pull off the ninja, but, you know...
Faye's pretty bloodthirsty.
She definitely is. I mean, I've seen those memes out there.
Yeah.
Plenty of images.
Wants to battle.
All right. Well, I mean, that was... definitely probably had a little bit of a jarring experience getting into that, at least. I mean, Fire Emblem fans are kind of crazy sometimes, just a little bit. But...
I embrace it all. You know, I had a good 2 years to lurk and observe and grow to understand these vocabulary words, salt and hype. So I started to understand that there's two categories of stuff, and I didn't take it any, you know, I just couldn't take it personally. So, you know, I realized that they are both sort of their forms of passion, and I appreciate passion. So, yeah.
All right. How about we go through some questions, just to see what we got here. Well, technically, we're going to save the biggest one, the one that everyone asked pretty much until the last. Oh my God.
I'm nervous. What could it be?
We technically already have gone over the second question. That was if you were familiar with it. Did you actually end up playing Heroes or try it out at all?
I did because, well, Faye plays Heroes, right?
Oh, yes, that's right. Yep.
In fact,
she has on several occasions, I believe, on the Faye channel.
Yeah. So I was like, I got to play. And then I downloaded it and I checked it out and I spent all my orbs to decorate my castle.
Of course.
And then I realized that you needed them for other things.
I mean, I believe you if you actually, if you actually upgrade your castle, it helps. So making it pretty is not a bad thing. I
mean, I maxed out the upgrades. And then when 3 houses came out, I just immediately set it up to be Black Eagles for sentimental reasons. So,
of course.
Yeah, it's
I
fully
wonder why that.
I have those beautiful, like the candlelight. Oh, so pretty. I have that.
Oh, yeah. I'm Golden Deer. I'm still Golden Deer on that one. But
Golden Deer. Yeah. That's like, I think it's like Hufflepuff, man.
That's me, definitely. Hufflepuff.
Okay.
I'm just kind of there, just off in the
I'm glad we've had this talk.
Harry's doing the adventure, but I'm just back there, reading a book or something, maybe eating an apple.
You're like, yes, the world is falling around us. I would like to go to herbology, please. Is herbology canceled or not? Just let me know.
Evil wizard? What's that? I'm busy studying here. Exactly. Several other people have asked, what was your favorite moment as Faye? Like, which portion did you really enjoy doing when it came to being the character?
Oh, no, I just loved it all. I don't have a favorite moment because it's all like such a blast. It was just a great experience, start to finish. Yeah, loved it.
Well, that's good. I especially liked your Surtur impression. That was pretty good.
Okay. That was a highlight. That was a peak. Yeah. Thank you.
That and, of course, the April Fool's trailer was also good just because, well.
Oh, yeah. Oh, that was surreal. That was fabulous. Like the entire Fire Emblem community trended me as number 1 on a website I didn't even know existed for like a week.
Seriously?
Yes,
wow.
like 1 week, knocking off all well-known voice actors the globe around just because you guys are so powerful.
And there was that little owl right at the top.
And everybody's like, what the?
What happened here? How?
Yeah.
At least you got a free accessory out of it.
Yeah, I bragged to my friends. And I wrote an email to my brother, and he's like, what? And then I was like, my character got a Pope hat. And my brother's a priest, and he was like, that's cool. It's like, you don't understand.
Oh, my God.
That's what family's for, to let you know. That you think absolutely. You're globally important, but you're just you.
See, my character has a hat. Isn't
yes,
that
yeah. He was like,
I would be doing that too. I'd just be like, see this? Look.
Yeah, I was like, look at this. No, yeah, that was so fun.
speaking of all this, since Fire Emblem, I don't know if you've noticed, maybe you have, but a lot of names in Fire Emblem are kind of difficult to pronounce.
Ooh,
and
yes.
they definitely made you have to say them in several of these presentations. Were you taken back by any of them?
I definitely said some of them wrong.
Oh.
And then I was coached. So.
Oh, of course, yeah. I mean, I know if I came in and was in this role and I looked in on the piece of paper trying to read it and it's FJORM, I'm just like, how am I supposed to say this? Something like that.
Yes. I did not have a lot of experience with Norse languages, like Norse stuff. But some of it, I read a lot more Greek mythology than Norse mythology. So obviously we all need to educate ourselves more reading, folks. And then we could probably enjoy a lot more if we got up to speed on Norse mythology. But it's not just that. I think there's more to it, right? Because there's different kingdoms, so they're influenced by different places. And I'm not sure where all of the influences are coming from. But I do know that it's all highly, highly researched and intelligent. So
yeah, I mean, they dig deep for a lot of those names and a lot of those.
Yeah, I mean, I think that the community is passionate, but also the developers are just incredible people and brilliant. So.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, just looking around, I'm pretty well versed in Norse and I like mythology a lot. So reading and seeing all of this, even though I cannot pronounce any of those names because, there's an F next to a J to a T or some other things there. And I'm just like, this is way too many syllables in the.
Yeah. And, truly, in everyday life, you can just say it in your head and it doesn't matter. So it's like, oh, I have to speak them aloud.
Yeah. And then you're like, oh, no.
Yeah.
How am I going to do this one? This word is like this in my head, but that's probably not right.
So I'll admit there was a lot of hand holding.
Oh, man. Speaking of, since you do characters, what other characters other than Faye do you enjoy?
Well, I mean, I love doing characters, but personally, I find doing lighthearted heroines to be very challenging. And playing villains or darker characters is a lot less complex for me. So I was doing a Medusa character, and that was awesome. And then I had to play like 5 or 6 archangels. And
oh, okay. 5 or 6 of them?
Yeah, because they were like battling the villain. Well, a lot of times when you're doing a character session, you're coming in and you're going to do a lot of characters for something because they need a lot of different background noises. Some of it's kind of like walla or fighting sounds. So you can be asked to do up to like 5, 6, 8 voices plus creatures plus grunting, in a session.
Yeah, I can only imagine how much grunting there is involved.
Yes.
Especially for battle scenes.
I actually have a method for grunting.
Oh.
Yeah.
Care to share the method?
Well, yeah, because I think you have to. I feel so blessed and lucky because I went to drama school, so I had stage combat workshops. So we actually practiced fighting and all of that stuff. So if you can kind of imagine, of course, there's offensive attacks and defensive attacks, right? So there's aggression and there's also like taking a hit or blocking a hit. So if you kind of imagine the battle actions, then I try to go for at least a set of 5 different grunts, right? So long grunt, short grunt, fast grunt, slow grunt, and then sort of like some kind of mid something. Probably. Yeah. So I try to like have a variety of grunting, so I can organize my grunts in my mind to catalog them. And that helps me create a lot of variety of sounds quickly and kind of deliver what they need fast enough.
Oh, yeah. I just can't believe we had to use the term organizing grunts. That's
yeah, something. I index my battle grunts. And then, again, this is like a voice actor tip to know your voice. And, basically we consider dividing it into different places and regions, right? So just here's my little tutorial, right? High voice, mid voice, low voice, or chest voice. So like head voice, kind of normal speaking range, and then chest voice. And then also like different resonators. So like top of the head, nasal, back of the throat. You got to be careful with that one. Open, more breathy, less breathy, using choices like that based on the character design. So you can kind of make a little grid and try that as a beginning point. And by that time, once you've created something for the voice director, they're going to come back to you with feedback and you can refine the character and add details later.
Wow. One, thank you for the advice. That's a lot more in depth than I thought I would actually, hear. Like, that's fantastic. And here I am. I can only do like one impression. I think it's like Kermit the Frog.
Another great piece of advice is to do an impression of an impression, right? So to kind of refine. So if you do a great Kermit, like do Kermit times your mom, and boom, you have like an awesome character. So. Oh,
all right. I mean, let's see if I can actually still pull this off. Hi ho, Kermit the Frog here. That's
a great Kermit. So now can you do Kermit like using the voice patterns of your mom, right?
Yeah, I could try, but that's going to take a bit of workshop, I think, myself.
Like what's something she does all the time? Like does she scream at you to get up, or what's her catchphrase?
Oh God, her catchphrase is yelling at her dogs because they always walk all over her.
Okay, so do your Kermit voice, and now do your Kermit doing an impression of your mom yelling at her dogs.
Oh, God. Well, the funny thing is, one of her dogs is actually named Sage. Just thought I'd throw that. So, little bit of trivia there, but, she just yells at him like, Sage! Something like that, but it's...
I think that's great. That's great. I mean, like, it was short, but it still had some Kermit, like, tonality to it, but it had a different kind of inflection. So if you had an actual script, like, you could really start to use that character to do stuff. And I think that would be a great, It depends on the character design, but that's a great place to start. And what you need to do is be able to come up with an idea like within 1 minute when you're going into audition or if you're going into your first session. Like you have to give them something to say yes or no to. So you just like toss your ego and
just try.
the embarrassment factor. You're just like, let's just be free,
It's always a little bit harder when you get, started off, I think.
Exactly. You just have to be open to going to weird and wonderful places.
Exactly. All right. Well, wow. Thank you for that. Oh my goodness. I'm just looking over at the other questions. Oh boy. What have we done? Let's see here. What is your favorite type of bread? This actually comes from Gooseophone and David over on Twitter.
Okay. My favorite type of bread is bread, but currently the favorite type of bread my family enjoys is a bread made with kind of a roux. So it's actually maybe a Chinese technique that was adapted in Japan a long time ago. And you make kind of a slurry with flour and hot water first. And this changes the gluten compounds in that little piece of that chunk of whatever it is, the slurry. So when you put that in with the regular bread, when it mixes and it does its rising and stuff and you bake it, it explodes and it creates a fluffier, moister texture. So it's a very different kind of bread. And I want to tell you what that's called. I think it's called like tangzhou or something. It's like a Chinese word. I don't know. I can post it to my Twitter, but it's an awesome technique that doesn't take such a long time. And it really changes the texture of the bread for the better. It's amazing.
Now I kind of want to try that actually.
Yeah. It's basically, I think if you look up a recipe for Hokkaido milk bread, they use that typically to make that kind of bread. So that's a great kitchen project.
And we do have a bread maker here actually, so
Oh my God. You gotta start making stuff. And your mom, she's gonna be like,
Oh my God, yeah. I mean, she would probably enjoy that quite a bit, so I should probably try at least doing something like that. Why not?
Yeah.
I mean, we haven't used that in a while, so Wipe
it out first.
Yeah, obviously. I'm gonna have to go look for supplies, and God knows how bad that's gonna be to scavenge.
Like, scary dust comes off.
Just can't find anything at the grocery store right now because oh boy.
Oh my God! Right, it's the best time to start making your own food right now.
Seriously. Oh boy, this next question. This one actually comes from YouTube, I believe. The longest.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, the longest fade. This one comes from. Oh wait, no, this is actually from Twitter. The Clipsed Lock asked, "What is the longest fay you've ever done as fay?"
All right, guys. This is another. Like, I've gone to drama school, so literally, we spend like an entire semester practicing how to make sounds at length. So, like, the longest fay I could do would be a really, really long fay. I'm not gonna brag, but I mean, like, it would be just like forever. So
that's a little bragging, but I'm just kidding.
A little bit, forever, longer than you. Let's put it that way.
Definitely longer than me. I don't think I can maintain that. I would probably just pass out.
Somebody call Guinness.
Well, I kind of want to see if we can actually do that. But
we should have a competition. Yeah. I think this could be a good morale booster.
Have you ever heard
among
of
the community?
Have you ever heard of the YouTuber Metakite01? I believe it is. I might be getting her name wrong, but
my best friend Metakite01. No, I'm not familiar with this YouTuber.
She does a Faye impression, and yeah, she does a great job at it, and maybe go and take a listen sometime. I'm sure.
Okay.
Yeah,
oh my gosh.
She does a great job too. I think I actually have a few of her voice lines from an old project. I could probably send you just so you could hear it.
Well, just so she knows, now she's got competition for fan dubs.
Oh.
No, just kidding. Just kidding. No, I won't do that.
All right, let's see here.
that was an unemployment joke.
Yeah, let's not have that happen. Anyways, any musical talents?
I play the violin.
Whoa, really? Oh.
Yeah.
I can play the kazoo.
But I'm a terrible singer.
I mean, violin's pretty awesome. All I've got is the kazoo, and that's pretty much it. So
kazoo is a challenging instrument.
I can play the Jurassic Park theme, but not very well.
What? What?
I don't have a kazoo right now, but there you go.
If you had a kazoo right now.
Fortunately, I don't have one right now, so it's just gonna.
This is too much fun. I would definitely make you play the entire Jurassic Park theme right now.
I will attempt to do a video for you later, just as an example.
That's fantastic. And now that you said Jurassic Park, I feel like the Game of Thrones theme really would be great on kazoo.
Oh my God.
I think it would be awesome. So I challenge you to develop that.
I will attempt that then too. We'll try
and then I'm waiting for your mashup video.
Oh boy. Oh God. That's going to be a bit more work, but you know what? I'll attempt. I'll try. We'll see what happens.
If you get ad revenue on that, I want 10%.
Of course. Probably won't because you know how the music industry is, but yeah.
Yeah.
Anyways.
The sigh. You have to take it on tour to make money.
Of course. Any type of favorite, what's your favorite type of owl? God.
Clearly whatever owl is in a gotcha machine, because anyone who's been following me on Twitter has known that for the past 2 years, well, I guess the past years when you guys could follow me on Twitter, that I've been desperate to get the snowy owl out of the owl gotcha machine, and I never succeeded.
Oh, I believe I've actually seen that.
Yeah.
So
there were there was like owls on perches, and then there were owls with 360-degree swiveling heads, and both of them
awesome.
had a snowy owl mocking me from inside the castle. And we're not going to discuss the amount of revenue that was lost.
Yeah, I was going to say,
trying to win.
I already know the amount of revenue that can be lost in just a gotcha mobile game.
Yeah. It's our lot in life.
Yeah, seriously.
So obviously, snowy owls are the best.
All right, this one comes from Jug, a personal friend of mine. He's asking the question of have you ever watched or read any reactions to Faye? Any favorites exactly at all when it comes to that?
Okay, the answer is yes.
All right. Now I'm worried.
And that's where the answer will end.
You can't.
Because I love all Fire Emblem fans equally.
Well, that's a good answer, just in case they try to storm the gates. But no, I'm kidding.
But I think, of course, yes, I have watched, I don't know, some of it rolls directly right after a Fate channel. So if I watch a Fate channel, then something will come up. And like I said, for 2 years, I was a lurker. So I saw quite a lot of I saw things I can never forget.
Oh, yeah.
But actually, I started to enjoy some of them quite a lot. So
I think that's the fun of it.
Yeah, I was like, what is this? What is this? This is amazing. You guys are so creative. And then I was like, these people have real jobs and real lives. And like they do all of these creative things. I think some of them are better at their stuff than I am at mine. So yeah, I was just like, it's an incredible community. The fan art, all of the everything, the discussions. It's so vibrant and active. That's incredible. It's amazing.
Even 3 years down the road, it still is. It's kind of impressive how that has
withstood so long. So. And I feel for the most part, of course, there's some, outliers that are salty, but for the most part, like when people post their fan art or things, people are so incredibly supportive. And wow, how cool to have a group of peers that you can freely share your work with who give you good feedback. I mean, that's really, really cool.
I couldn't have said it better myself there. That perfectly matches up with what I think there.
Yeah, that's some special sauce.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I feel that even with, the highs and the lows, the fandom tends to be pretty good at what they're doing. So, my mother just came in.
Hey, Dad.
Sorry, in the middle of this, but, all together, they come together pretty strong. And usually, there's not any negative real repercussions there.
No, yeah.
Everyone has a lot of fun. So, okay, now it's time for the final question, which probably, at least according to my count, got about 40 or 50 questions exacting about the same thing. So,
what could it be? It's my favorite color, right?
Yes. What is your favorite color? Might as well just go with that real quick. Just to
my favorite color is green.
Oh, awesome. Actually, mine too. So.
Oh, you're in the club. You're in the club. Yeah.
All right.
But I like to summon from blue.
Oh, well, blue's just as good too. I mean, but green's where it's at.
But I like green the best.
You can't go back on green. If you go back on green, we'll find you. That's why it's green with envy, but okay. Well.
Yes.
Can't love another color, but all right. So about 40 to 60 people asked about Xander. I don't know why it auto-corrected to Xavier here, but Xander was a character that was often mentioned in the Faye channel. And, was that built into the script or did it come from somewhere else?
What is this question exactly?
It's basically about, that one character that Faye really loves, Xander.
I see. Well, this is just my personal opinion, unaffiliated with Nintendo or Intelligent Systems or anything like that. Faye loves heroes.
Well, I mean, I think that's as simple as you can really put it there, honestly.
Faye deeply loves heroes. And to imply that she had a special affection or that Faye had a special affection for one hero over another is shocking.
I mean, you're never too sure with that delivery, Al. You can't really place where.
I don't think that a faithful messenger owl would engage in any inter-office hanky-panky.
Okay, well, definitely a way to put it there, yeah.
That's my personal opinion.
So you don't think there's any real favoritism towards poor Xander over there, but
I can't fathom this. I think it's all in your heads.
Definitely. She also did, she also showed some favoritism to Surtur for a little while. So, it's not like it's terrible.
Well, there you go.
And also...
And Fjorm.
And Fjorm. Yeah, Fjorm too. A lot of Fjorm for a little while there. Oh, boy. I can only imagine how many times you had to say her name when they first introduced her, because I remember they were like, legendary heroes, Fjorm. Fjorm does this. Fjorm, Fjorm, Fjorm.
Yeah. Well, the truth is, the one that I always get wrong is Sharena.
Oh, really? Sharena?
Yes, because I want to say Sharena, but...
Yeah, I do that all the time. Trust me. So...
Yeah. So
it's because you look at the name and you just think, oh, Sharena.
it's my number one blooper.
Yeah. I mean, I'm spiraling a bit here, but anyways, I mean, the one that I have problems with a lot of the time is Camus or Camus, because, it's spelled in a certain way, but it's pronounced in the more French dialect, if I'm recalling correctly.
That's what I felt. It was more French.
Yeah, so when that actually happened in the Fate channel, people were like, "What? Did she say it wrong or something?" And it's like, nope, that's how it's pronounced. People, that's how it goes. I
have to say, whatever was in the channel was, coached. So
yeah.
Yeah.
You landed it perfectly, so that's good. You got the right pronunciation, which I'm sure a lot of people would still be baffled by. I mean, people are still kind of baffled by that, but either way, it's how it works. With that, I mean, there were a lot of Fae channels, and I can only imagine how hard it might be to remember a lot of that too. So.
Yeah, I don't remember the details of everyone because, it did happen over 3 years. So.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, it's honestly been a joy to have you here. I just wanted to say that. Thank you so much for joining me on this one.
Someone was recommending, in these times of pandemic to Skype your friends. So I've had a Skype with a friend. It started my day off awesome.
Yeah, exactly. It's been amazing. I will say that, God, just looking over all of your work and everything, I definitely, I'm just amazed with how much you've traveled and how much it's really quite incredible to see. You guys can, of course, check out her production company. It will be linked down in the description below as well as her Twitter.
And you can send me an email. I have an email open. So
yeah, I mean, there's a lot of places to interact with Kimberly here, and she's pretty active on Twitter too, guys. So unfortunately,
I'm a bit of a Twitter addict. So
she posts bread occasionally. It's pretty good to see, honestly. Will make you hungry.
It's my contribution to the peace and calm of the world.
But oh my goodness, I think it's probably time to get going because we are actually running a bit late when it came to this.
Thank you so much.
And thank you so much for joining me, guys.
All right.
Kimberly, do you have anything to say before we go?
No, just thank you so much for all of your support. I really, really appreciate it so much.
And now it is time to flap away, guys. So catch you later.
Flap, 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 flap. Fair.